came across a drifting ship. I took a look inside. I found a note that someone wrote that said, take her for a ride. I set a course for sights unseen, went out to open sea. To my surprise, a bunch of sailors joined along with me. Now we're sailing on the mystery ship, and all the sailors here are really hip. There isn't any cost of membership. All you gotta do is join our trip. Yeah, I'm the captain of the mystery ship, and I'm a-calling all aboard this ship. I'm really hoping that you'll enjoy it up on the mystery ship. So bring a friend and come along with us aboard the mystery ship. Well, let's get a look at you. Let's get a look at you. How are you doing out there? We are taking a peek around the horn. Let's just take a peek around the horn, shall we? Are we live at Pilled Foxhole? We are indeed. We are live at Pilled Foxhole. How about the tube? Oh, let's go, Brandon. Dandy 002. Glad to see you over there. You've tuned in on a good night, people. On a good night. We are live at Rumble. I'm loving it. We are live at Rumble tonight. Whoops, Zoe, you're not paying attention. Not paying attention. Okay, how about at D Live, the home of the champions, the current world champions? Oh, we are live at D Live. Good to see you. Thank you, Artist61. Thank you kindly. And last but not least, how are we doing at Twitch? My goodness, we are twitching that itch tonight. Live for 5 for 5. We're alive. Wonderful to have you aboard this evening, my friends. I am excited. I'm excited about tonight's show. I've got pages and pages and pages of notes. I hope I can get to them all. I've got no less than 20 different emails to share with you. I've got even more notes here and more notes. This is a fascinating subject tonight. Tonight, your brother Zoe is going to take a twisted look, as only I can do, a twisted look at this upcoming eclipse. There is some really unique stuff going on with this freaking eclipse. I don't know that we're ready for it. I know I'm ready for it because I have done, seriously, like 3 days worth of work. In fact, I better get these pages in the right direction. They're going the wrong way right now, much like my show is. Let's say some hellos while I have you out there. My goodness, it is great to look out and see people. Yeah, it took a minute to go live over there. I saw that, Mad Pogue. Thank you for checking in on Rumble and making sure that it is up and running, and that it's nice to know that people could chat there if they were so inclined. I see 3 of them over there. Rumblers, I freaking love you. I love you. Thank you for being there. Pilled Foxhole, who's in the house? Wait, am I hearing noise somewhere? Am I hearing noise somewhere? Okay, no. I swear, I want so badly. I want so badly for this show to come off as, somewhat professional even though I'm a complete Luddite. Let's see who is joining us tonight from over in Pilled Foxhole Land. And there's a whole bunch of sailors there, a whole bunch of them. Holy Hannah, Double D, first man in the door. Good to see you. Prairie Fire on his heels. Joe Elaine, Jojo, this one's for you, kid. Good to see you. Folks, I don't know how many of you heard the other night, but a week ago tonight, Joe Elaine had reached out to me and asked us to pray for her family by the government stepping in her neighborhood and saying, you need to take that perfectly good roof off of your house and you need to put on a hurricane-proof roof to the tune of $30,000. Folks, I visited her house on one of my recent trips. Beautiful house. Nothing wrong with the roof. But when the government steps in and says, you need to do this, what choices do we have? Okay. We prayed because there was a chance that they might qualify for a government grant, which would really take the sting out of that matter. She reached out to me the next day. Our prayers worked. They got the grant. That's going to take about 25 grand off of the bill for them, which is wonderful news. Folks, you got to believe in the power of prayer. It is the most powerful thing in the world. Let's have a look who else is down hanging out at Pilled Foxhole. Oh man, we got all kinds. LT 57 FSH, how you doing, my Harley riding brother? Val Hall, the Our Gang salute to you, little lady. Wonderful to see you. Girl Patriot in the house, all the way from Texas. Please don't pee in the confessional. Everything will be fine. Nice to have you with us, kiddo. I'm kidding, of course. Completely kidding. Completely kidding. PWG in the house. Prayer warrior girl. You are going to love tonight's episode. You are going to love this episode where Zoso takes a look at the upcoming eclipse, as only Zoso can, in his own twisted little fashion. Wonderful to see you. Let's see. Am I missing anybody else? Just want to make sure I say the proper hellos to all the people. Willie Fixit is with us. Good to see you, Willie boy. Hope everything is good in your world back east. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, look at that, man. I'm seeing some gold pill love pouring in. Thank you guys kindly. Rooster, good to see you all the way from Lubbock, Texas. Wow. Q&A holes. Good to have you aboard, my man. Hope everything is groovy by you. Groovy by you. I just wolfed down a dinner. It may come back to haunt me occasionally. Bear with me. If I take a deep breath and hold my stomach like that, that means my stomach is doing convulsions. M1911 Zoom in the house. Wonderful to have you aboard. Folks, we've got some of the finest foxhole sailors ever imaginable. Paul Thaddeus is with us. Holy smokes. Oh, look at this. Look at this news. Val Hall shares that her great-nephew, born a couple of hours ago, Baby Lane, saw pics of him. Her niece is doing well. Congratulations, Val. That is wonderful news. Fantastic. Fantastic news. Let's take a quick peek over at YouTube, where I know we got people hanging out. Let's go, Brandon, in the house. Dandy 002. Good to see you, my brother. Brother Dan. Our Charlie is in the house. Seems like the volume is low. Well, I can always go up. Let me know if I get too loud. It could have been, Brandon, it could have been like I might have been too far away from the mic. So I have been known to overmodulate, and I'm trying not to. Checking in with the powers that be over at D Live. There's no shortage of sailors there. Let's see who's hanging out. Val Kimber in the house. The muscle man. Val, always good to look up and see your smiling face. Artist 61 is with us. Spudley in the house. TL Spud, good to see you. I'm fine on level, he says. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Val is trying to give away 4 kittens at the moment. Willie Fix-It in the house, checking in with the friends over there. Artist61, spreading the lemon love. Thank you, darling. Gloria Paddock, another Our Gang welcome. Good to see you. Gloria, you do know that I was only joking around with those wonderful pictures of you and Lynn Wood the other day. I mean, I'm green with envy, you know. It's one thing to have your picture taken with Lynn Wood. It's quite another when he's got his arm around you. I think he's got the hots for you. Lynn Winters is with us. Good to see you, Lynn. I hope you're doing well. Wonderful to see your smiling face. Bad Zoot is ready. She is in totality. And boy, do I have some news for you, Bad Zoot, about the Bloomington area. Yes, you are going to have your mind blown over there. You're going to have your mind blown. Holy smokes. This is one of the most unusual eclipses, well, most definitely of our life. This will be the single most unusual eclipse of our lifetime. And I will tell you why. Don't go anywhere. I want you to hang out here and learn all the crazy stuff that Zoso studied, because it's truly hard to believe. Hard to freaking believe. Let's take a quick peek over at Twitch and see if anybody is twitching that itch. I don't see anyone yet, but I am hopeful. I am hopeful that we will have some Twitchers by the end of the night. They do tend to wander in a little bit later. 1H10OH. Wait a minute. Is it 1H10? I'm trying to figure it out for sure. Glad to have you checking in with us over there. Nice to see you joining us. We have upped the ante to 8 over at Rumble. You Rumblers, I'm so glad to have you aboard. I'm so glad to have you aboard. Folks, you have wandered in to what is going to be a very, very special mystery ship. Zoso, I'm not kidding you. Zoso did his freaking homework. I got 5 pages of notes here. I've got 15 pages of notes here. And I've got like 25 emails to open up and share with you, because this is some wacky stuff. I mean, I don't know that you're going to believe it. I don't know that I believe it. It's crazy. It's freaking crazy. Okay? We're going to be, as long as my internet speed keeps up tonight and I can open a few pictures when I need to open them, this is going to be a wonderful evening. Okay, good. Looks like so far, so good. Honey, please don't start watching a movie in the house, okay? I need all the broadband I can get. Darling. Okay. All right. We are going to come back with a look at this baby right here. We are going to have a big old look at this upcoming eclipse, starting down here and working its way right through Kate's backyard and wandering up into Canada. It's going to blow, folks. It's going to blow your freaking minds. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me aboard the mystery ship. We will be back immediately following this short break. This is your opportunity. You're not going to want to miss a minute of this show. This is your opportunity to refresh your drink, take a quick leak, run the dog outside, whatever it is you got to do. You got about 2 minutes and 20 seconds to get her done, okay? We will be back immediately following this message from the mystery ship. Why do we sail upon the mystery ship? 'Cause we never know where we'll go next.
And so, my friends, we're so very happy that you decide to come out several times a week and hang out at the Mystery Ship. Can you do us a favor? Tell a friend about us. Share it on whatever your favorite social media might be. Tell a friend, tell a brother, tell a sister, tell the next door neighbor. There's this crazy biker dude. You really should, you really should check him out. He's wacky. He is wacky. Come along for the ride on the Mystery Ship. We're waiting for you, sailor.
Yes, yes, indeed, we are. We are waiting for all those new sailors who have yet to find the mystery ship. They're out there. They are out there, and I just want to take this moment. I always take this moment to thank the wonderful people who support this program in any way they see fit, whether it be throwing some lemons my way or perhaps some gold pills, surprising me with things in my Cash App or PayPal. You guys are wonderful. But the greatest and most wonderful way that you can really, truly help this show doesn't cost you a single penny. It's simply by telling someone you know about it. There's a reason that it's called the Mystery Ship, and that's because you never know what I'm going to talk about. It could be nostalgia, it could be a current event like tonight, it could be, I don't know, just about anything. That's why it's so much fun when I look out and see people on all the different platforms. Thank all of you for being here tonight. It is my pleasure to welcome you aboard the Mystery Ship. Tonight, I am going to share with you a variety of things. Some are, you might call them, I don't know, random chance. You might call them coincidence. You might think that God has a hand in this eclipse. I have to tell you that with the studying I have been doing in the last few weeks regarding this, I have a hard time thinking that God does not have a hand in this eclipse. Okay, let me share a little bite of scripture with you. Okay, boy, in Matthew 16:4. In Matthew 16:4, people came up to Jesus and they said, "Okay, if you're the Son of God, give us a freaking sign. Prove it to us." Everybody wants proof, right? Why is it that they can't just believe? Why do they have to have more proof? Watching him heal blind people wasn't enough. Watching him make lame people get up and walk and carry their beds with them, that wasn't enough. Curing withered hands and all of the miracles that we know that he did. So when they came to him and said, "Show us a sign," in Matthew 16:4, Jesus said to the people standing there, "A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and no sign shall be given to them except the sign of the prophet Jonah." That's what he said. Except for the sign of the prophet Jonah. Now, those of you who know your biblical history might remember that Jonah was the prophet who was swallowed up in the belly of a whale. And after 3 days, the whale brought him to land and spit him out, where he landed in a place called Nineveh. And Nineveh was a wicked, wicked place. From what I understand, men there were dressing as women, and women were dressing as men, and there were cat boxes in their school bathrooms. And oh no, I'm sorry, that's a different place. That's a different place. Nineveh was wicked, though. They really were wicked. And Jonah got out and preached to them, "Repent, Repent, my friends, repent of your evil ways. On the day that Jonah stepped out of the belly of a whale, there was a solar eclipse that day. That very day, there was a solar eclipse. And I'll tell you what, now I wasn't there, but I have a pretty damn good feeling that a whole bunch of the people there in Nineveh changed their tune when this guy walked out of the belly of a whale and started preaching to them, and then the sky went dark. I have a pretty good inclination to think he changed a few minds that day. And from what we understand, he did. He did. This upcoming eclipse, okay, you remember the eclipse from a couple of years ago? It was called the Great American Eclipse. And the reason they called it that, let me put it back on the screen for you. Let me put this back on the screen for you. Oh, what did I do with it? Here it is. Here it is. Here we go. Zoe, get your shit together. Here's the eclipse from a couple of years ago. All right? 2017. It started, oh, son of a gun, we can't see the whole thing. It started here in Oregon, where I live, and worked its way across the whole country, exiting in South Carolina. The interesting thing about the 2017 eclipse, the interesting thing is that there was not a solar eclipse in any other country that year. No other country had a solar eclipse except the United States. That hadn't happened since it was during the Revolutionary War. It was during the Revolutionary War the last time that an eclipse only went through one country. So that's what happened in 2017. Interestingly enough, the 2017 eclipse went through 7. Now, those of you who watch the show all the time know that my show is Zosodude 77. 7 is known to be a holy number. 7 is God's number, okay? The 2017 earthquake, 2017 eclipse passed through 7 towns, starting in Oregon, by the name of Salem. Salem. 7 towns across the U.S. and 7 different states had the name of Salem. And the interesting thing about that is that Salem was the old name of Jerusalem. Okay? So if that isn't enough to at least get you to raise an eyebrow and say, was God trying to talk to us by sending an eclipse through an exact 7 cities called Salem, with Salem happening to be the old name of Jerusalem? If that's not bizarre enough for you, let me share something a little more dramatic with you, okay? When you look at the map of the eclipse, okay? So here's this year's eclipse. Where's my cursor? Here's this year's eclipse, okay? You see that little shaded area right there? Okay, so the red eclipse, the red line here, is the exact line of totality. If you are anywhere within that 15-mile wide, that red line is 15 miles wide, okay? If you are anywhere within that 15-mile wide area, you my friends, you will get to see totality. That means you will see the corona of the sun outlined around a complete dark moon. Last time around in 2017, I was in the 80% area. My daughter up in Corvallis, she got to see the 100% totality, and it's pretty interesting. It is pretty interesting. There's lots of names for them. Okay, when you see the sun shining out from around the moon looks just pitch black, absolutely pitch black. You can see stars in the daytime sky that you normally cannot see except for at night. During this eclipse, you will see stars during the day. That's pretty exciting. Then, the minute it starts to end, and the moon is just starting to get the hell out of the way, the very first peekings of the sun around the corner, it lights up so bright they call it the diamond ring, because that's what it looks like. It looks like a gold ring with a shimmering diamond on it. I am envious. I am envious of those of you who are in totality this year. I really, when I first started reading about this, I wanted to be there. I wanted to get my ass on a plane and go somewhere where I could be in totality, because I missed it last time. I was in 80%, and 80% was pretty damn impressive, but I didn't get to see the full corona, and it's not going to happen again. An eclipse of this nature is not going to happen again until 2044, and damn it, there's no guarantees I'm going to be around in 2044. I'll be holy shit, that's 20 years from now. I'd be 85 years old. Okay? I'll be 85 if I make it to the next one. Now I'm going to die trying. I want to see that next eclipse, but odds are this may be the last eclipse that I see in my lifetime. But let's get back to this map for a second, because right here, in the middle of this area, this X, okay, you've got both of these were 15-mile wide areas of totality. But if you go 7.5 miles to the dead center of that 15 miles mark of totality, you can pinpoint the exact place where those two crossed each other. You can pinpoint the place, and scientists already have. What have they learned? Well, there's a little city in Illinois. I have the name. It starts with an M. It's an African name. Damn it. I probably won't find it in time to tell you about it, but it's like Minerva or something unusual. Bottom line is that in this teeny tiny town, it's a hippie town of about 500 people, okay? It's known to be a hippie town of about 500 people, and in it is a national forest. And in that national forest, right where those two lines from the 2017 eclipse and the 2024 eclipse cross each other, if you pinpointed the exact location, it is on a road in this national forest, and the name of the road is Salem Road. Salem Road. Now, the 2017 eclipse passed through 7 towns by the name of Salem. The 2024 eclipse is going to pass exactly through 2 towns. Okay? Dang it. Dang it, I'm losing my note. I need my notes. It's going to pass right through two towns in totality called Nineveh. Yes, the same Nineveh that Jonah preached to, but in the wake, outside of that line, is an area of 90%, 90% totality. And altogether, there are again 7 towns named Nineveh that will be witnessing the brunt of the eclipse. Is that unusual to you? Last time around, there were 7 towns named Salem. This time around, there's 7 towns named Nineveh. The very one that Jonah preached to. Even more bizarre is that when the eclipse happens, it's going to happen under a very specific constellation. The constellation is known as Cetus. What do you guys know about the constellation Cetus? Well, let me tell you what I can share with you. This right here, open up, baby, open for me. This is the constellation Cetus. This is what it looks like. Cetus is a whale. Cetus is a whale. The eclipse is going to happen right in the middle of Cetus, the constellation, which happens to be a whale, which happens to be what Jonah was spit out of when he went to preach to Nineveh. And by the way, the eclipse is going to pass through very close to 7 towns named Nineveh. You might say, okay, so you got some coincidences going on there. It is a little unusual. You need a little bit more. Come on, let's go a little bit deeper. So the Jews, the Hebrews, whatever you want to call them, they have been keeping God's calendar. In the past, it has been observed that lunar eclipses pertain to the Jews, whereas solar eclipses pertain to the Gentiles. This is well documented in the Bible, in the Torah. That's just pretty much the way it is. You can go search for yourself, but I promise you, I've done the damn research, and that is, you can take that one to the bank. You can take that one to the bank. Now, this particular eclipse appearing in Seat of the Whale, okay? Oh my lord. Where there's so many mind-blowing things. I don't really even know where to start. But let's try and start here. The Jewish calendar. Okay? They call it the Jewish calendar, and the only reason they call it the Jewish calendar is the Jews are the only people who are keeping tabs on it. Okay? The Jewish calendar is based on the moon, whereas the Gregorian calendar is based upon the sun. Okay? The Jewish calendar is based on the moon, and the Gregorian calendar is based on the sun. Now, the start of the new Jewish New Year is called 1 Nisan, or Nisan 1. No, not like the car, not Nissan. It is 1 Nisan. And that is the beginning of the new Jewish year. Our new Jewish year this year is 57. Let's see. 2017 was 5777. So this year, we're 7 years later, 5784. 5784 this year. Okay? 5784. I have a hard time calling it the Jewish calendar because the fact is, it's it's really God's calendar. It really is. It's really God's calendar. It's just that the Jews, God's chosen people, they're the ones minding the store. They're the ones who know the exact date and all that. So, I've got faith in my Jewish brothers. I know they're looking out for me, and I'm trying to look out for them. The interesting thing about 1 Nisan this year is it happens to fall on the exact same day as the lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse. The exact same day. And if you do the math, and experts have, April the 8th, this upcoming April the 8th, if you do the math going back in time, April the 8th was the exact day that Moses brought the 9th plague upon the Egyptians, which was 3 days of darkness. Okay? Now, are you going to call that coincidence? Okay? The eclipse is coming on the same freaking day that Moses brought 3 days of darkness upon the Egyptians. Not enough for you? Not enough for you? Let's go a little deeper. Let's go just a wee bit deeper. Well, I don't think I'm going to have time to get into the lunar eclipses. I really wanted to. I did so much research on the lunar eclipses. No, let's skip to the meat of the matter. Let's get to the meat. Also coming this year on a 71-year cycle, there is a comet out there. It's known as the Pons-Brooks Comet. The Pons-Brooks Comet, but its nickname is the Devil's Comet. And the reason it is called the Devil's Comet is because the comet has ice and gas explosions constantly. Therefore, it carries with it these wings that look like horns. As it goes across the sky, it looks like the devil himself, which is why it's called the Devil's Comet. Do you know that after 71 years, the Devil's Comet is returning to our view in the sky? And it just happens to be coming on April the 8th, okay? The same freaking day that we're having the solar eclipse. I'm sure that's not enough for you. Let's talk about some of the other interesting things going on with this freaking eclipse. Now, we've had eclipses in recent memory, right? We've had, there was an eclipse last year in 2023. There was an eclipse. It kind of went over the south portion of the United States. It kind of went through Nevada and Arizona and Santa Fe, New Mexico. It was kind of down. They downplayed it because it was just so minor. Okay, but there was an eclipse last year. This upcoming eclipse, as I mentioned, in recent memory, we had one. It's just a mere 7 years ago, and curious people wanting to see totality, traveled great distances to be somewhere in the line of fire. I mean, I must admit, I was in 80% totality, and I was so awestruck by what I saw, particularly with the shadows of the leaves of the trees on the ground. That is absolutely mind-blowing. It is. Sometime during this eclipse, I want you to, instead of looking up, I want you to take off your special glasses, and I want you to glance at the ground under a tree and look at the bizarreness of the shadows of the leaves of the tree on the ground. It's it's really bizarre. It is. I'm going to be videotaping like a fool. After the last one, I said to myself, you are going to be in totality next time. And here it is, just a little more than 2 weeks away, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good. I really want to go. If I could figure out a way, if I could freaking figure out a way to do it, by God, I would. By God, I would go somewhere to see totalities. A very, a very interesting thing about this upcoming eclipse. Unlike the last one, unlike the last one, there are uh, there are warnings that have been put out in 4 different states. Those states are Texas, Oklahoma, Ohio, and Indiana. Texas, Oklahoma, Ohio, and Indiana. And they are telling people that you should have extra cash, that you should have a generous supply of food, like 2 weeks worth of food. They're saying that you might want to have things like batteries and alternative forms of communication with your family, like walkie-talkies. Okay? Now, using common sense. Okay? Some people might say, why are they doing that? Why are they warning us? Why do we have to have food and water? Why do we have to? It's perfectly ridiculous. Okay? I can tell you because on January 6th, I went to Washington, D.C., and I was standing with about 400,000 other Americans, and there were so many of us that the cell phone towers were taxed. So it makes perfect sense why, if you have a loved one who might have like some kind of medical concerns or something, and you want to absolutely positively stay in touch with them, if they don't have a landline, well, you might consider getting some walkie-talkies so you can keep tabs on them if they're close enough. Because probably, with all the looky-loos descending from the other states into this little 15-mile wide area of totality, it's very likely that the cell phone towers are going to be taxed. Now, why should you run out and get more cash and have cash on hand? Well, you got all this influx of visitors coming to see the frickin' eclipse. Odds are the ATMs are going to get overrun. I mean, it makes perfect freaking sense. That makes perfect sense to me. Food, same with food. You're going to have people filling every hotel. They're going to be swamping the freaking supermarkets. So now, while you still have a couple of weeks in advance, if you are in the line of totality, yeah, you might think about going and getting a little extra food to last you just in case the shelves get overrun by they are expecting 40 million people, 40 million people to migrate into the area of totality so they can see with their own eyes what an eclipse looks like. Honestly, I wish I was one of them. I wish I was one of them. Now this right here, this is a little bizarre. It's not to me as concerning as it is bizarre. This is from an Oklahoma newspaper, and it would appear that the Oklahoma National Guard is being deployed for the eclipse. Now, again, you have small towns that are being overrun with people. I read somewhere that there was a town of 400,000 people, a large town, and the mayor is expecting, from his research, he is expecting his town to swell to 800,000 that weekend. Basically, double the amount of people that they normally have. That means freeways will be taxed and side streets will be taxed. It'll be really hard to get a hotel. Hopefully, if you're planning on going, you've already booked a place to stay. You already know where you're going. And hopefully, you're smart enough to bring some extra food and stuff with you because, you know, gas stations might they might get depleted if the freeways are clogged with tons of people visiting. That means the big trucks that deliver the gas can't get to the gas stations as quickly as they used to. So it makes perfect sense to have some extra gas around and all that stuff. But this right here made me raise an eyebrow, and that is 22 members of an elite chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear unit will be housed on Broken Bow. So they are bringing in these specialists, these National Guard specialists to Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma is not the only state deploying the National Guard. So is Texas. So is Ohio. I can only assume that any of the other states on the way will probably follow suit. I kind of think it's just for, well, let me give you an analogy. You know, has anybody ever been to those great big giant concerts? Like, I went to Cal Jam 2. I went to the US Festival. Cal Jam 2 had 385,000 people in it. We were a city. We were a pretty good sized city to ourselves. US Festival was a 3-day festival. There was like 200,000 people there. You know, when you're milling about with that many people, take elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder, belly to back, you know, there's just something calming about looking over that way or looking over that way and seeing someone wearing those yellow or orange event, you know, the vests, right? It just shows you that there's people in control, that we have the situation under control. There's nothing to worry about. Relax and have a good time. In my mind's eye, I kind of think that's the reason that they're deploying the National Guard. Maybe they learned something 7 years ago on the Great American Eclipse, and this time they're just upping the ante a little bit. They could also be announcing this. They could be announcing this just to make sure that there's less of a chance of any kind of shenanigans going on. Okay? To me, again, it makes pretty good sense. They want to establish that there's going to be strong leadership in place during the eclipse. Don't try anything funny, people. We have got this under control. Let me see. There's a very unusual thing happening at the line of totality, at the crosshairs of totality, which is that little town I told you about in the bottom corner of Illinois. But the truth is, where the X is, that 15-mile swatch by 15-mile swatch, that general area is Illinois, Indiana, a vast portion of Indiana, and a little chunk of Ohio. They're going to be experiencing, and this is for the first time in 200 years, not one, but 2 different types of cicadas will be coming up out of the earth. There's one type of cicada that comes up every 13 years. There's another type of cicada that comes up every 18 years. Well, their series have lapsed to the point where on April the 8th, will be the beginning of the cicadas coming out of the ground. Two species of cicada at the same time. Now, cicadas are not locusts, okay? This isn't a plague of locusts. Cicadas don't eat any, you know, they don't eat our wheat or any of our food stuff. They do chew on trees, and big trees have nothing to worry about. They do eat little trees, little teeny tiny. If you've got some saplings in your yard, yeah, you might want to wrap them with little, paint that white stuff on there. But for the most part, it's just unusual that these cicadas are coming up out of the ground, both of them at the same time, starting around April 8th. What are the odds? What are the freaking odds? So, this is more interesting stuff about this eclipse. Who remembers the last one in 2017? Okay, if you were in the peak of totality, if you were in the right place at the right time, if you were in the right place at the right time, you probably got about 2 minutes and 20 seconds of the corona being totally covered. This year, the average time of being in complete darkness is 3 minutes and 45 seconds, with some areas experiencing as much as 4.5 minutes of darkness. 4.5 minutes of darkness in the middle of the day. That's pretty good. That's pretty much twice as long as last time. I kind of think that's pretty cool. In 2017, 14 states got to see the eclipse. This year, it will be 16 states. 16 states will be enjoying it. That's not the record, though. The record was set in 1806. Now, in 1806, the time of totality, of complete darkness, was 4 minutes and 53 seconds. 4 minutes and 53, damn near 5 minutes. I would have loved to have seen that one. I wonder if my great grandfather saw that one. I don't know. Here is something interesting, though, and this is something to consider. This really is something to consider. On September 17th of 1811, there was an eclipse, and it was preceded by a lunar eclipse. So, September 17th, 1811, there was a solar eclipse, and it was preceded by a lunar eclipse. It pretty much is in the exact same area as this one coming up in 2024. Not exactly, it's not following the exact same path, but it is passing over the Madras Fault, okay, which is in, I believe, southwest Missouri. All right, it's rather large. The Madras Fault is an enormous fault, okay? It makes the San Andreas Fault out in California look like a Girl Scout party. This is the big one, okay? Now, that solar eclipse, which was preceded by a lunar eclipse, right after that, they had a series of earthquakes for 6 months, starting on December 16th, 1811, for 4 months, through March of 1812, they experienced 2,000 earthquakes. 2,000 earthquakes. And the biggest of which being 8.8, an 8.8 on the Richter scale. It was so intense. The earthquake on December 16th, 1811 was so intense, it caused the Mississippi River to flow backwards for 3 hours. For 3 hours, the Mississippi River flowed backwards. The land rolled and strutted so big in so vast an area that it rang the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia hundreds of miles away. That's how big the earthquake was. At 8.8, it rang the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia. Oh my God. The Mississippi River flowed backwards for 3 hours. Now, there was some very unusual circumstances surrounding those earthquakes. Those 2,000 earthquakes resulted in some really weird stuff. Okay? Really weird stuff. There were a number of abnormalities. Call them what you will. Call them what you will. Some really, really freaking weird things happened following those earthquakes. If my page would just pull up, I could tell you about them. Okay. I have a way out of this. I'm going to go back to my inbox. Okay. Go back to my inbox and we'll try this one. Let's try this. We'll go this route. Okay. Now I think we got something. Okay, let me blow this up a little bit. These are the things that happened during the earthquake of that area. Sand boils. Okay? The world's largest sand boil was created by the New Madrid earthquake. It is 1.4 miles long, 136 acres in extent, and it's located in the Boot Heel of Missouri, about 8 miles west of Haiti, Missouri. Locals call it the beach. All right? Other much smaller sand boils are found throughout the area. So basically the sand came bubbling up out of the ground, creating beaches. Land that was previously maybe trees or fields became sand beaches from sand boils, sand boiling up out of the ground. Another amazing thing that happened during that series of earthquakes on the New Madrid fault there was seismic tar balls, okay? Small pellets up to golf ball size were found in the sand boils. They were petroleum that has solidified. They were called petroliferous nodules. That's the real name, the scientific name of it. Earthquake lights. Lights flashed on the ground now. Lights flashed on the ground where the earthquake had been because of quartz crystals being squeezed. The phenomena is called seismoluminescence. Say that 3 times fast. Seismoluminescence. Warm water. Warm water thrown up by the earthquake. It is speculated that the violent shaking of the 8.8 earthquake, which caused the Mississippi River to flow backwards for 3 hours, caused warm water to come up out of the earth, and other interesting things happened. the skies. They had what's called earthquake smog. Earthquake smog. The skies turned dark during this 1811 earthquake. So dark that lighted lamps didn't help. Lamps were no use. That's how dark it was. The smog was. The air smelled bad. It was hard to breathe, people said. It was speculated that it was smog containing dust particles caused by the eruption of the warm water from deep inside the earth coming up into the cold air. Loud thunder. Sounds of distant thunder were heard, and loud explosions were heard for miles in the distance. And last but not least is animal warnings. People reported on strange behavior by animals, particularly wild animals. They were nervous and excited. And then the stranger thing yet was domestic animals, people's house dog, started acting like wild animals. Like they would not obey, they wouldn't heel, they were just like wild animals. Probably because they sensed this earthquake. Now you're probably saying, I can see it. I can see it in your eyes. You're probably saying, Zoe, why are you bringing this up? Why are you bringing this up? Well, it just so happens that next Friday, the 25th, we're going to have a lunar eclipse. A week, 10 days before the solar eclipse. Just like they did back then. And guess what? It's in the same area. It's in the exact same area by the New Madras Fault. Now, take me at my word. I am not suggesting that there's going to be any wild earthquakes or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm not even suggesting that. But it is pretty bizarre. It is pretty damn bizarre. Here's an interesting one. I screen captured a guy's TikTok page. I don't know who this guy is, but I researched it, and he had the best snapshot of it, so I took a picture of it. This is a weathercaster in the Midwest. And he's saying that there is a storm going on, and it's most bizarre. He said, and this is recent, like, I don't know, in the last 24 hours, 48 hours, in the past hour, over 16,000 individual lightning bolt strikes from western New York all the way down to northeast Texas. Do you see the line in the picture? The line in the picture just happens to be the solar eclipse path, and we're having a series of storms mimicking the path of this solar eclipse. I'm sorry. That just seems too unusual. That is borderline freaking crazy. Okay? Now, it's at this point in time when I have to say to myself, is God trying to get our attention? Is somebody talking to us? It's just too bizarre. It is really just too damn bizarre to believe. Holy cow. Holy cow. You think I'm done? No, ladies and gentlemen. No, we are anywhere near done. Nowhere near done. Here's a very interesting thing. Do you know that solar eclipses follow cycles? They follow cycles, and the eclipses have numbers. They number the eclipses because they're part of a certain series of cycles. It's called the Saros cycle, Saros. Some people call them a Saros series. The series typically lasts, a series typically lasts 71 years. And, excuse me, a series usually lasts 1,000 years. 1,000 years. And the eclipse cycles are on 71-year paths. So if you count back from 2024 and go back 71 years, and then go back 71 years, and then go back 71 years, you're going to find a couple of interesting things. First of all, that damn devil comet is going to keep showing up. That's one thing to be amazed by. But I'm going to show you a couple of eclipses that happened in Turkey. Okay? This was it 2018? It was 18 years ago. Okay? 18 years ago in Turkey, there was another of these Saros cycle solar eclipses. And it's really kind of unusual. I mean, I find this, well, for those of us who don't study history are doomed to repeat it, right? That's pretty much a given? I'm going to show you a picture of Turkey, and I want you to see something in this photo. Let me show you this photo. So these two eclipses were also, just like the Great American Eclipse in 2017 and the eclipse we're about to have now in 2024, 7 years apart. One crossed over 7 towns named Salem, the other crossing over 7 towns named Nineveh. This was 2 solar eclipses in Turkey, 7 years apart. I want you to look at the numbers of them. Saros 145 and Saros 139. Okay? In 1999, they had Saros 145. And in 2006, Turkey, they had their own little X marks the spot. Unusual, but not too crazy. Not necessarily too crazy. Well, look at this. Here is the X marks on the spot on the United States again. You might notice something. The 2017 was Saros 145 also. And the 2024 coming up was also Saros 139. This is from Saros cycle 139, and this is from Saros cycle 145. Isn't it unusual? Isn't it not unusual that Turkey had an X on it and that the United States had an X on it? I find that most unusual, especially since the town in Turkey where the X formed is a town called Amasya. Amasya. It was the land of the Hittites, okay? The descendants of Esau, okay? Esau, the twin brother of Jacob, the twin brother of Jacob. Okay. The land of Turkey was known as the seat of Satan. The seat of Satan. Here we are, a mere 18 years later, and two eclipses from the same two Saros cycles that crossed Turkey 18 years ago have now decided to come cross over the United States. And you know what's really funny? The eclipse, one of the first towns that the eclipse is going to pass over is a town called Jacob in Texas. I'm not kidding you. That is the truth. There is a Jacob, Texas, and the eclipse is going to pass right through it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's go just a wee bit deeper, shall we? In the Jewish alphabet, there are 22 letters. 22 letters to the Jewish alphabet. Now, in the ancient scriptures, the figurines or figures, whatever you want to call them, the letters, they look differlephy than the modern ones, okay? The first letter of the Jewish alphabet is a letter called Aleph, Aleph, and the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, is called Tav, T-A-V. Do I have there it is. So, Tav, the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, in its ancient writing, not how it looks today, but its ancient writing, looks just like that. That's what Tav looks like. Surprisingly, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Aleph, and Aleph looks like this. Okay? That's what it looks like. There's something really bizarre, and I hope I have the picture of it. I really hope I have the picture of it. I may have screwed up here. I did. I don't have the picture. I'm going to do something for you very quickly. This is the United States. This is very poor drawing of the United States. It's Zoso drawing the United States as quickly as he can. So here is the 2017 eclipse path, okay? And here is the 2024 eclipse path, all right? Going like that. Kind of looks like a Tav, right? In 2023, last year, I mentioned to you, we had a minor solar eclipse. It really wasn't big enough for the news stations. It only went through like 3 states, and they didn't make a great big deal of it. But if you were to superimpose last year's solar eclipse over these two from 2017 and 2024, well, that last eclipse kind of just went like that, forming the Aleph. Remember when Christ said, I am the Alpha and the Omega, I am the beginning, I am the end, I am the Aleph, I am the Tav, the beginning and the end. I just kind of think that is just a wee bit coincidental. Is it coincidental or is it just mind-blowing? Okay? Seriously, there are some really unusual things going on with this freaking eclipse. Okay? Seriously, some bizarre things going on with this damn eclipse. Let's see. There. That's how I explained the sorrow cycle. Let's see. We talked about Nineveh. We talked about the eclipses. We talked about the only sign being given was the sign of Jonah. When they asked Jesus for a sign, he said the only sign you're going to get is the sign of Jonah. Well, we happen to have the sign of Jonah. Jonah walked into Nineveh the day of a solar eclipse. Another interesting fact, people. This is pretty freaking bizarre. Is that since the birth of the United States in 1776, since the birth of 1776 on our nation, there have been a total, including this one coming up, a total of 8 solar eclipses. 8 of them. 2 of the eclipses happened during the Revolutionary War. 3 of the eclipses happened during the Civil War. 2 more eclipses happened during the Vietnam War. Do you find that unusual? Well, I can share something a little more bizarre. Okay. Let's see. Where is it? Where's my page here? Yes. Let's talk about let's talk about these eclipses. Now, I told you that they happened during wars. But do you know what else? Do you know what else these eclipses wind up with? Now, this is really interesting. Okay. I'm sorry. I take it back. These are the blood moons. The blood moons. You remember was 2017. 2017, we had a series of blood moons. 2 of them in, I think, 2017 and 2 more in 2018. That only happens. It's called a tetrad, blood red lunar eclipse. That's 4 lunar eclipses back to back in 2 consecutive years. All right? There have only been 8 sets of these lunar blood red eclipses. That's only happened 8 times that we know of. Okay? The first set happened in Passover in 162 AD. And guess what? It was right during a war, all right? Right when Rome took on the empires of Armenia and Upper Mesopotamia, is known as Rome versus Parthenon, okay? That's when the first series of blood moons came. The next series of blood moons came in 795 AD. Again, the first one was on Passover. The next ones was on Passover and Sukkot, which is the Jewish Feast of the Tabernacle. Okay? That happened in 795 AD. That was the Saxon War. Okay? That's when Charlemagne entered Saxony with the intent to conquer. It's pretty bizarre there. The next set of blood moons occurred in 1492 during the Spanish Inquisition. Now, we think of the Spanish Inquisition as the Catholic priests boiling you in oil if you didn't profess Christ to be your savior. Okay, that's what they taught us in Catholic school, is that, you know, we routed those heathens. Well, I can tell you it was a little deeper than that. If you dig into history a bit, basically the Spanish drove all of the Jews out of Spain. That's that's really the Spanish Inquisition of 1492 drove all of the Jews out of Spain. And little aside, it has nothing to do with it, but I do find it interesting, is on August 8th of 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. And there are people who swear that Columbus was in fact Jewish and that he sailed with a Jewish crew. Coincidence? Man, I don't know. I wasn't there, but there are people who firmly believe that Columbus was in fact a Jew. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay, so 1492, that's Passover. That's when the Spanish Inquisition. So you got all these key moments in time happening. You got wars when there's solar eclipses. You got wars when there's blood moons. The blood moons in 1948. Well, that coincided with the state of Israel coming back. In 1948, the state of Israel was brought back, and at Passover and Sukkot, which is again the Feast of the Tabernacles, there were blood moons that year. In 1967, there were blood moons, and that was during the 6-Day War. The 6-Day War. Are you starting to wonder if some of the stuff is just a little too hard to... I mean, okay, hang on. There's some yet. The blood moons of 2014 and 2015. That's when it was. Blood moons, 2014, 2015. So there wasn't necessarily a war then. However, in 2014 and 2015, the 2 consecutive years with 2 full blue blood moons, those were the years that ISIS formed. Ebola blossomed around the world. Operation Protective Edge in Gaza went down. Okay, and here in America, people only remember George Floyd, but in 2015, there was the death of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. Anybody remember that one? That was the beginning of the division in our country, if you were to ask me. I mean, just further blown apart by the George Floyd and the television, and I mean, if you recall, all the members of Congress, Nancy Pelosi and everyone kneeling in. Oh, the whole thing just drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. It drives me freaking crazy. Where are we on time? All right. You know what we're going to do? We're going to take a very, very, very short break. And I'll be back immediately after downing the rest of this drink, because I've been speaking nonstop now for about an hour and 45 minutes. And guess what? I am so thirsty. I could just down this drink. So bear with me. We'll be back immediately after this. And I'm going to start reading your comments, because I'm kind of curious. What you're thinking about tonight's mystery ship. Man, there's something funky going on around here. There's something funky going on around here. You know, one thing I can tell you that I'm grateful for is I recently drove out my driveway and I was thrilled to see that Spectrum, Charter Spectrum, my local cable company, is installing fiber optic in my neighborhood. We have never had cable in this neighborhood, never. And they're telling me that hopefully, hopefully May 1st, but at the very worst, June 1st, I will be able to get high speed fiber brought here to my house, and I can get rid of the stupid hamster on a wheel type of internet that I currently employ. And I'm really looking forward to that because tonight, I don't know what happened. I got these notes from people in Pilled Foxhole who said the show's down. They don't understand what is going on. It looks like it never stopped over at YouTube. YouTube, have you guys lost the feed at all? Has it been going the whole? I have spinning wheels. Anyone else? Yeshua was born on the first day of the Feast of Sukkot. Yes, that's true, Craig. You are very correct. Very correct. Yes. Let me see. Let me see. I don't think we ever. I don't think we ever went down on D Live, right? Did we ever lose the stream over at D Live? Has it been running the whole time? I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Let's see if this is still live over at Twitch. Twitch apparently is still up and running. So I don't know what's going on with Pilled. This the last two times I have broadcast. My Pilled has gone down in the middle of the show. I'm going to have to reach out to the boys and find out what the hell is going on. What the hell is going on around here? For crying out loud. Well, you know what? It's about time to wrap up the show anyway. It might be about 10 minutes early, but I'll tell you what. I've had a day and a half. I've had a day and a half anyway. So I think your brother Zoe is just going to, I'm just going to boogie it on out of here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to motor on down the highway. Let me see if I can pull up a little video for you. Can I pull up a little video for you? Let's see if we have one of the oldies. Let's see if we have one of the oldies in tow. What have we got? Zoe, what have you got up your sleeve? That looks like it could be a good one. That looks viable. We'll go with that. Yeah, we're going to go with this one. I think it'll work just nicely. I really want to thank everyone who has come by tonight and hung out. I hope that you found the mystery ship was at least interesting, if not partially informative, unusual, perhaps. I invite you to tell a friend about this wacky little program. You never know what I'm going to talk about. And there was enough things about this freaking eclipse coming up that made me just freaking scratch my head. And I just felt I need to share this. I need to share this with my wonderful people. Now, I see them donating like mad men and women over there at D Live. So I am going to return the favor. I'm going to drop a little something right in their laps. Yes, let's put a little something in the Christmas. All right. And over here at Pilled Foxhole, I don't know if you're working or not, but I'm going to release the scratching. So what I understand is maybe the video has gone down, but from what they tell me, the chat is still working. So if the chat is still working, that means that the scratching should still be working. So I invite you over there to go and hit that scratching and see what you can get out of it. Yes, the scratching is coming. Prairie Fire, you are most correct. Go and get yourself some of that gold pill love over there, people. First one in is a rotten, dirty Dirty Rotten Sock Sniffer. Oh, Prayer Warrior Girl scored. And look, even I got a gold pill this time. Hey, that's great. All right, over here at at D Live, here comes your treasure chest. Here it comes, baby. Who's going to get it? Spudley on top. Spudley on top. Bad Zoot on his heels. We've got Gloria Paddock making this list again. Lynn Winters and Artist 61. Congratulations, Steph. Everybody, Spudley, Zoot, Gloria, Lynn. Way to go, everyone. Way to go over there. All right. Your brother Zoe is going to boogie on out of here. That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sneak on out of Dodge. And I'm not going to answer the phone. not gonna have a phone call during the ending of my show like I did last week. That was one for the embarrassing moments file. It wasn't it? You tell an entire evening of embarrassing moments, and then during the closer of the phone rings, and then unbeknownst to me, the volume on the phone was on. That was just great. That was just freaking great. All right. I'm getting out of here, people. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I love you all. Have a great, great rest of your week. I will see you on Friday, my friends. Friday. Good Nobel. Guten Morgen. Does anyone out there think God is trying to get our attention? Put an X in the chat if you think that God is trying to get our attention with the signs of Jonah in the sky.